Hey everybody, this is the first video of 2025, which is kind of crazy to think about, kind of crazy how it's almost been 2 years since I decided to come back to YouTube. And as you can see by the title, I mean, I'll just get right into it. Today I wanted to talk a bit about the Switch 2 again. It was one of the first videos I did when I came back to YouTube, and now with a lot of rumors going around, a lot of leaks, and a potential reveal date really soon, I just wanted to revisit the topic and sort of give my thoughts on a lot of things, maybe kind of look back at some of my old predictions, give some updated predictions for 2025 and what I think is going to happen soon. So I've got a list over here, actually. I've got a ton of stuff. I have my old script that I wrote for the Switch video. Thank God the audio is a lot better in this one. I just went back to it, and I'm very sorry for the couple hundred of you that watched that video with that audio. Anyway, I've got a whole kind of list of topics I want to touch on, and I've got the scripts open and everything, and I just want to get right into it. So, big thing that's going on right now, one of the biggest things, and I'm recording this as of January 5th. Hopefully this video is going to be out before like the 9th or the 8th or whatever. I actually have to open a calendar right now. Supposedly, the new rumor is that the reveal date is going to be either the 8th or the 9th. I don't remember which one, but I'll put a thing like over here on the screen, just correcting myself. I want to say it's the 9th because Thursday's what Nintendo always does, but to be honest, I don't really buy that. I mean, I'm filming this video now and I'm going to get it out before that, just in case I wind up being wrong. But yeah, I mean, January 9th. On one hand, originally I really did think it would be announced back in October. I thought it would kind of echo the whole Switch 1 announcement and then eventual release. But October came and went, and then, of course, me, like a lot of other people, thought, okay, surely it has to be November now. And then November came and went, and at that point, I knew it wasn't going to happen in December because of holiday sales. So my current standpoint right now is I kind of do believe it's going to be January or February, but I don't think it's going to be as soon as the 9th. I think it could be maybe the weekend of the 23rd or the 30th, or maybe like the first 2 weeks of January. Basically, my standpoint, and I'm just putting this out there so we could see if I'm right, if I'm wrong. It'd be kind of interesting to see. But I think it's going to be late January, early February, basically kind of eventual final reveal. I don't know, the 9th seems too early at this point, considering they've been waiting so long. And despite all the leaks that are going around, I don't think Nintendo really cares about the small percentage of people that are actually following those leaks. I'm sure a lot of you watching this video are, like me myself, but I mean, the reality is most people that are gonna buy the Switch are people that don't really even know a sequel to this console is confirmed at all. So I don't think it makes sense for them to want to push the release date or the reveal date ahead of time because of these leaks. I also think maybe it's got to happen sometime after Donkey Kong. I feel like that's going to be like one of the last Switch 1 games to come out. Obviously, I feel like they're going to maybe do a couple cross-gen games for the first year or so, or with specific games. I'll get into that in a little bit. But I think it's probably going to be after Donkey Kong, which I believe is on the 16th. I feel like late February is a little too late, and then March is literally the end of that fiscal year that they kind of confirmed it would be announced within. So that's kind of why I feel like January, February is kind of the best kind of date to reveal the system finally. Now, that being said, I did want to talk about a couple of the leaks, and I wanted to talk about a couple of the games. First thing I'm going to do is talk about the games, though, because I think, I don't know, my prediction for the launch games, there were a lot of, and this kind of circles back to the leaks, but there were sort of leaks of like a new Mario Kart game coming out on launch day. And I know a lot of people think a new 3D Mario is going to happen because of the 40th anniversary. Personally, I think that we are going to get a new 3D Mario sometime this year, but I think it's going to be a very similar situation to Odyssey. I feel like it's not going to be a launch title. I honestly don't even feel like Mario Kart's going to be a launch title. If anything, if we do get 2 launch titles, I do think one of them actually is going to be Prime 4, which some of you might kind of disagree with, considering it's sort of a niche kind of series in the eyes of the general public. A lot of people outside of Nintendo fans don't really follow Metroid or play Metroid. But the same could kind of be said about Zelda when the Switch 1 came out. I mean, obviously, more people, it was one of their biggest franchises still, but I feel like Breath of the Wild kind of popularized Zelda a lot. And I could kind of see it coming out as a launch title for the Switch 2. One, for like those big, massive Nintendo fans that have been waiting for this game for a long time. I do think it might be a cross-gen game, because I feel like it was confirmed for the Nintendo Switch, that direct we had over the summer. But I feel like it's going to be out on both systems. I feel like it's going to be a very similar launch with Breath of the Wild, where it's out on the last console and the new console, but honestly, more people are probably just going to associate it with the new console. If we do get 2 launch games, I could see the other one being a Mario Kart game. I don't know how credible those leaks are, but I do think the 3D Mario is probably going to come out around fall of this year again, or maybe summer even. I don't think it's going to be a launch title. I think announcing it in like January and then kind of releasing it in March or April would just be way too quick for a massive game like Mario. We've known about Prime 4 for years now, and we saw our first kind of real look back in summer. So I feel like there's been enough time where we can kind of get a good idea of this game, rather than a Mario game coming out 2 months later. I do think Mario is probably going to be a year 1 game, especially, again, with the 40th anniversary. I just don't see it being a launch title. Right now, I'm going to call Metroid and potentially Mario Kart. Those are the 2 launch titles I could see happening, even despite the leaks claiming Mario Kart. Even if those turn out to be false, I could still see Mario Kart being another launch title. I feel like you got a good kind of contrast there. You got the one game for the hardcore Nintendo fans, the hardcore Metroid fans, or even like the more kind of mature audience that's into like shooters and such. And you have the more, party kind of family friendly or party friendly game where you could just sit down with a bunch of friends and really kind of take advantage of all of the Switch's multiplayer and social features. That being said, I do kind of want to touch on a lot of the leaks that have been going around, because there were a lot of photos of the system supposedly, the docks, a couple of the Joy-Con, or actually there was like one photo of the Joy-Cons, and these all have a bit of controversy around them. So if you're like me and you've been following this topic as much as most Nintendo fans that can't wait for the system to come out, you've most likely seen all these leaked pictures, and you've most likely seen all of the discourse that surrounded them with the initial post of this one leaker saying that he'd post photos on Christmas. I believed it at first when I looked into it, because there seemed to be evidence supporting this, and then I, like many others, saw these photos on Christmas and they just looked a lot like fakes. They just didn't look right. And people said they looked like AI, they looked fake, they looked weird. And then even more people came in. There's this one really lengthy post that I saw of somebody comparing the reflections on the back of the console to the background color of another photo that didn't seem to be edited at all. So that kind of made me believe these leaks were kind of real in a way at first, especially when people were kind of coming out saying like maybe the AI was the background to hide this person's identity. It kind of made sense at first, but as time went on, personally, I kind of don't really believe these specific leaks anymore. I'm not going to name drop, but I'm sure a lot of you know what I'm talking about if you've been following them. But I don't know, it just seems a little weird. Personally, I kind of am now at the point where I think this is just somebody who made like this really elaborate leak. Personally, I don't think they're very trustworthy. There are just too many red flags. I mean, editing the photos themselves is already kind of destroying a little bit of credibility that this leaker had. That being said, I did want to talk about a lot of the CAD renders. We've been seeing a lot of, case manufacturers and just these accessory manufacturers just kind of really kind of having enough of Nintendo holding out on this announcement and just kind of posting their own stuff. As far as I can tell, all of these companies that have been doing this don't have any sort of contract with Nintendo, don't have any sort of NDA. it seems like they're just kind of using the leaked renders. So I don't really think that's really giving us much new information. There was this one manufacturer, I can't remember the name right now, but I'll put it up on screen here, who mentioned they were going to show or answer questions about the Nintendo Switch at some convention, which I can't remember the name of either, so I'll put it here as well. A lot of this stuff, I mean, it's exciting just because we don't have a lot of news right now, but thinking about it and looking at it with a level head, I do think a lot of these people, I mean, they don't have contracts with Nintendo. There's these like third-party case manufacturers that just kind of do their own thing, and it's clear that they're answering questions based off of these leaked models and creating these case renders based off of these leaked models. I do think these leaked models are real. I just don't think that's really much information to go off of. But it is very interesting seeing all this stuff happen. I guess they're not technically breaking any NDA because they didn't have any to begin with. I mean, we don't see any companies like, I can't remember the name of them. The people that did a lot of, like, there were third-party Joy-Cons that were officially licensed, third-party cases. You don't see any of those companies that were officially licensed with Nintendo, with the original Switch, really posting anything about this or talking about it at all. So I do think they're going off of a lot of the leaked models that are out there. Either way, though, it's interesting to see that a lot of these people are kind of having enough of this thing not being announced. Now, I think in my original script, and I'm actually going to open it up right now to sort of reference that, I do believe I mentioned that I would like a spring release date, and I kind of assumed it would be last spring because that video is from 2023. But it's interesting to see that they're kind of following that same date, that same kind of timeline. I think it works really well with this console, since it's this hybrid console that you could take out with you on the go, bring it with you, you know, when you're going out, hanging out with friends. I think it works well for a spring release date, and I'm really glad that we're seemingly getting another one. If those rumors of the original holiday release date are true and are to be believed, and I think they are, because I feel like that's why a lot of these motherboards and renders are leaking now, because they're in manufacturing to get ready for, you know, a release soon. But if those kind of rumors, if it's supposed to be released in like December or November are true, I think it's safe to say that we could see a release date anywhere from like March to maybe June. That's kind of my ballpark estimate. I see a lot of people saying the same thing. Just because of the lack of announcement so far, I could see it being like April or May, more so than March. Although, another little thing I want to touch on, I feel like they could probably get away with a March release date, even if they show it off the end of January, just because I feel like the reason the Switch 1 had such a far out reveal date to the release date of, there's October, so that's like 5 months. Personally, I mean, I believe that was just because they needed time to build hype for this new console. It was right off of the heels of the Wii U, which really wasn't that big of a success. It was kind of towards the end of the 3DS's life cycle, so probably less revenue from there as well. So I feel like they wanted to really drum up hype for a couple of months for this new system before finally revealing it, or finally releasing it. But now that, you know, the Switch is on track to being the best-selling console, probably soon to beat the PlayStation 2, I really feel like they don't need a lot of time to build up hype. I feel like as soon as they announce this thing, everybody's going to know, and they could probably get away with releasing it like late March. That being said, and this is just sort of also a video I want to make this video just to have this sort of thing to look back on when the thing is eventually revealed and out, but I'm going to say this now just for the record, just so I could look back, just so you all could look back if you want. I feel like it'll probably be an April or May release date. Just, it seems like it makes a little more sense with how it's kind of being revealed, and I feel like that gives just enough time for people to maybe save up, or just enough time for all of these, you know, people to get ready, stores to get ready for a new console launch. Alright, now I kind of want to dive into sort of some more of the leaked details first. As we see from a lot of these renders, I'm not going to stay on this for too much because I really don't think there's a lot to talk about right here, but one of the most notable differences is that little C button underneath the home button. I have no idea what this is for. I'm going to use this as a little segue into my next section of the video. I see a lot of people kind of assuming it's a connect button, and weirdly, a lot of people are kind of assuming this console is going to act like a Wii U in a way, which is something that I kind of mentioned in my last video. I think would be cool if there was some sort of way to use it in handheld while it's still on the TV. A lot of people think it's C for Connect. I don't know, actually. To be honest, I don't know. Part of me kind of wants it to be that way. Part of me thinks it makes sense, but there's another part of me that thinks it's just so... I don't know. I feel like that could be a menu setting or something else. I also don't know if... I mean, C stands for Connect in America, but other countries, other places in the world, I don't think it makes much sense. I have no idea what the C button could be used for. I don't think it's like another face button, sort of like the Wii Nunchuck had the C button, or we had the C stick, I think it was called on the 3DS. I think technically it was called the C stick, or the C stick on the GameCube. I don't think it's anything like that because it's in the exact same style as the home and screenshot button. I don't know what it's for, but a lot of people think it could be for, you know, connecting to the dock without putting it in the dock, and I think that'd be kind of cool. And I'm going to use that actually to segue into the next section, where I want to kind of look back on some of my, you know, wants or predictions for this thing, see if I still kind of believe some of them, and maybe add a couple new predictions and wants to see, you know, if we could get any of this stuff. So I'm going to start out obviously with the sort of connection, playing games on TV. I would love to see this feature. I do kind of hope that is the feature of the button, because it would open up a whole slew of possibilities. We could have, you know, DS virtual console games. We could have Wii U. I mean, we've already got a ton of Wii U ports, but we could have sort of more traditional kind of ports of certain games that only worked on Wii U using the touchpad. I think that'd be kind of cool. I just think it'd be a real neat feature. I also mentioned in my last video on this topic that I'd love to see themes and badges make a return. I still really do stand by that. There are a lot of cool UI designs out there. For some reason, I see a lot of people taking inspiration from the PS5 design. I might be in the minority here, but I'm honestly not that big of a fan of that kind of style. I think my ideal kind of UI would still be something similar to the 3DS, where you could have themes and folders and maybe even badges. I'd love to see those make a return. That'd be really cool. I also mentioned in my last video I wanted to see more colors for the console. This is sort of a crazy, like, outlandish kind of wish here, but I would love to see more translucent colors, sort of like classic consoles. I'm looking at one right now. I got a Nintendo 64. It's a third-party controller, but it's just this really cool translucent blue. I would love to see that make a return. I don't think that's going to happen, but I am hoping for a similar kind of color choice to the Switch 1 when it comes to the launch, with maybe an option for a black or dark gray Nintendo Switch, to maybe a white one now that the OLED model's out, and white Joy-Con and white system seems to be pretty popular now. And I'd love to see the neon option again. I don't know if they're going to go with different colors, but I really love the blue and red combination. I really hope that comes back, because that's the one I'll pre-order day one this time around. I'm sure we'll get a ton of Joy-Con color options again next time around. I mean, we know they're new Joy-Con, they're bigger, they're magnetic. This is all basically confirmed from the renders, and it's kind of crazy to kind of come back 2 years later to this topic and just see how much of this stuff has been confirmed, or how much is basically confirmed based on all this stuff. I've also got on here, and I discussed this in the last video I did on this, I'd love to see Street Pass make a return. I've seen a lot of people talking about this. I honestly don't know what Nintendo is going to do about this. I can't really make a prediction here. I would love to see it return on one hand, but on another hand, I feel like Nintendo is sort of going this more serious route with the Switch and with their hardware side of things, because they want to appeal to everyone. And I don't know if Street Pass really falls under that anymore, but I am really hoping it makes a return. I hope I'm surprised. I hope it makes a return. That would be really cool. A lot of people have been asking for it back, and it'd be interesting to see if Nintendo listened to that, because that was a really cool feature to have. And on a console like the Nintendo Switch, it would really encourage people bringing them out a lot more. these consoles that people are already using. I also just want to quickly go through a lot of these points so I could get on to a little bit more of the newer information and wrap this video up, because I've been recording for 25 minutes. Achievement system, I mentioned, I'd love to see that. If we do get actual achievements with the sort of reward system in mind that I mentioned, with having, you know, every time you earn an achievement, maybe you get a couple platinum points, and if you 100% an achievement list, you could get a couple gold points. I would love to see that. I think that'd be really cool. Originally I wrote, and I think I discussed in the video, that I'd like to see a wireless tablet accessory that allows you to play games on your TV. And it's kind of interesting looking back to think I didn't even think about the fact that you could just stream it. I wrote some things that I would like to see: a padded interior of the dock. I still think that'd be a really good design choice so we don't scratch these screens. 4K support, which I think I kind of didn't expect in the last video. And now with all of these leaks coming out, there was this really credible, the motherboard leak, I absolutely believe is real. I'm not going to get into the technical stuff because I have no idea what I'm talking about when it comes to that. But from what it seems like, and from what a lot of insiders are saying, and from what a lot of people that are looking at this motherboard are saying, this thing is going to support 4K docked, 60 frames docked, and supposedly in handheld be a little more powerful than a PS4 Pro, and in docked be about as powerful as the Series S, which is insane. And I honestly wasn't expecting that at all, but that's really, really exciting news, because that means we get to see a ton of more third-party games on the system. A lot of modern games are probably going to come out on the system now if it's going to be as powerful as the Series S. And Nintendo's first-party games, I mean, I think they're going to look... They have this sort of cartoony style. They don't rely on heavy graphics too much, but I think it is going to make them look really great. There was also this sort of patent that kind of got filed a couple days ago. I think it was on New Year's Eve, actually, for this sort of AI upscaling for 4K, which is really interesting because that basically confirms that we're going to have upscaling and really nice graphics and supposedly a really powerful console. Okay, so I'm looking at the lists. And for the last video, I actually wrote right here, and I could put a little sort of screenshot up on the screen, or a screen recording. I wrote probably won't compete with the PS5 or Series X. Now, okay, I don't know if it's going to compete with them. I still kind of stand that ground, but I do find it kind of funny that I wrote that now that it's kind of confirmed to be as powerful as the Series S, which I know it's not a PS5 or Series X power, but I honestly wasn't even expecting something as powerful as the Series S, so I'm very excited for this. I am going to start wrapping this video up with a couple general thoughts, some extra hopes and extra wants, and sort of predictions to leave you on for these next couple of days until potentially the reveal on Thursday. I still think it's going to be later in the month, though, or early February. Just for bullet points, I really do hope we get some interesting colors. I would love to see the neon red and neon blue come back, in addition to just neutrals like black and white. I am hoping that a lot of these rumors of power are true now. I'm not too big on power when it comes to Nintendo consoles and Nintendo games because they're just great at making fun games, but with all these kind of rumors going around, it'd be great to see a Nintendo console that actually kind of holds up with modern hardware and can have modern games. If they really can get the power down and they do get an achievement system down, maybe with proper friends and proper messaging and just kind of proper social features, I would probably consider switching to Nintendo to be my main. I mean, I've always been a Nintendo guy at heart since I was a little kid, so it'd be cool to have a Nintendo console be sort of my all-in-one console aside from, I guess, PS5 exclusives. Release date, probably sometime around April or May. I'd say maybe early April. Could be late March, early April, or mid-April, early May. I don't know. That's just, I'm putting that out there. I do think, again, the reveal is going to be late January, early February. Folders, I think we really need folders. Seeing a sort of setup similar to the 3DS and Wii U when it comes to folders would be nice, rather than what we have with the Switch. a more creative UI. I'd love an actual integrated eShop as well. I didn't really mention that a lot, but I think I mentioned that last video. I'd love to see support for more third-party, applications like Spotify, YouTube right now, but I'd love to see sort of Spotify. I'd love to see Spotify be implemented in a similar way that it is on the Xbox and PlayStation. Discord would be cool as well, and really just a fun launch. Again, I think Metroid's going to be a launch title. I could see Mario Kart being a launch title. And then probably the new 3D Mario. I don't know if it's going to be an Odyssey sequel or something bigger. Honestly, 40th anniversary, I could see it being bigger, considering it's going to be a celebration of 40 years of Mario. But I do see that coming out around fall, maybe September again, similar to Odyssey. I see this launch going very similar to the Switch one, with certain games coming out and certain kind of release schedules and such. But that's about it for this video. I think I covered everything. If not, oh well. I don't really want to make a third video on this topic just because I want to do a bunch of different variety of things. I really hope my bracelet's not picking up in the audio this whole video, by the way. I'm sorry if it did. And honestly, I'm not sure what to expect for this year in terms of my videos. I feel like there's going to be a lot, because we don't know much right now, but I have a feeling this is going to be a very big year for Nintendo. That's all for me today. See you guys in the next one. Maybe the Switch will be revealed in, as of now, 4 days. I don't know. I could be wrong. It could actually be this week. And if it is, you could yell at me in the comments again. Thanks for watching. This is going to be a very fun year for gaming and for Nintendo. And I'm excited. I'm sure a lot of you are too. I will see you all in the next one. Later.